All right, the Two Johns Show, and we are back with you. I know everybody missed us a lot. You know, we've been gone a long time, so hello there, and welcome back. We are the Two Johns, John and John, the Two Johns Show. No waiting,
No way.
and just a bit of self promotion. www number two dash johns.com, and our email address two.johns@yahoo.com. So you guys can shoot us out an email, let us know, what you think about the show, give us your comments, give us your suggestions, give us your money, whatever you want to give us. You got a daughter, give us that too.
Please feel free.
Feel free, right?
It is
No
your
problem.
patriotic duty to express yourself.
Absolutely. So there you go. And we take anything. Now, if you do send us an email, like always say, we promise to do one or two things. We'll either read it or we'll just delete it and throw it in the trash, and then if we do read it, miraculously, we might share it in one of our future segments, or we might just read it and laugh at how stupid it is and then delete it. So,
Or if it's awesome, we'll read it, laugh, and then put it on the show so everybody else can laugh at it.
Yeah, so just, keep in mind, send us an email, one of those things is going to happen.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose and probably nothing to gain either, so just feel free to shoot that on down.
All right, and so with that being said, we were talking about what we wanted to do this segment, and we decided that we would talk a little bit about the big V, voting.
I thought you said virgins.
Well, I said the big V and you thought I meant virgins.
That's what I get for jumping to conclusions again.
Well, there you go. But we'll talk about virgins another day. How about voting today?
Yeah, okay, fine. That doesn't get me as excited, but I can say something about voting too, right?
All right. I've got a lot of questions about voting, right?
Okay.
I got a lot of, just questions, comments, ideas to just throw out there about voting, right?
Okay.
Okay, number one, voting in the United States. You got your voting age, 18, all across the U.S. Is that the appropriate age? Should it be a little bit younger? Should it be 16, 17? Should it be older? At one time it used to be 21. Is 21 the correct age for voting? What do you think about the voting age?
Okay, well, I'm the resident young voter around here, so that's why I guess I get to speak to
The
opinion
reason
on this
why
one.
I'm asking you, yeah.
Oh, so smart. It's like you're making connections or something.
I am, yeah.
Well, let's see. As the resident young voter, I can tell you that, first of all, 18 for the voting age. Very, very first thing is the voting age and the people that have been able to vote. That sometimes has been arbitrary, and sometimes it has changed based to, social conditions, right? For example, women didn't used to be able to vote. Well, now they can vote because, they put pressure on society saying, hey, we're human beings, we should have a right to voice our opinions. Same things with black people, all right? Black people didn't used to be able to vote. Oh, well, they also didn't used to be people. But, thanks to pressure that they put on society, they're now recognized as people, and therefore they have a right to voice their opinion here in America. Land of the free and home of the brave, supposedly.
Yeah.
Now, as a young voter, really the voting age of 18 feels a little bit arbitrary to me. I feel like they chose 18 because 18 is the breaking point where a lot of people get to become adults, quote unquote, and start doing things that they didn't used to be able to do before. For example,
The age of majority.
the age of majority, yes. Thank you.
Sign contracts.
Sign contracts, sure, you can go into contracts, you can take out credit, you can take out loans, you can smoke, you can, for the most part, drive alone. So there's all kinds of things that you can do, right? But is it the appropriate age for voting? This might not make me popular among younger voters, but I don't think it might be the appropriate age to voting, because at 18, people are still worried about what other people think about them, like a little bit too much. I mean, we just got out of high school for most of us.
Right.
Some of us didn't even graduate high school. And so really, do you feel like a high schooler is the appropriate type of person to be making decisions about who's going to be in office for the next 4 years? And and be considered the leader of the free world?
Well, that's the question, right? Now, here goes another one. I'm going to say something even more unpopular. There used to be, for example, a rule that you can't vote unless you own property. And what was the idea behind that, right? The idea was if you're voting, all right, and you own property, you got skin in the game, right? You got a stake in the outcome of this, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a property owner means that, what you go into that voting booth and choose, tax-wise and representative-wise, et cetera, is really going to affect you because you have an ownership stake in the process.
Yeah, and as time went along, it also became a tool for other things like oppression, because it used to be black people couldn't own land, therefore they
Right.
couldn't really vote.
I'm not talking about I'm not advocating that we oppress black people, right? What I'm saying is, hey, maybe that wasn't such a bad thing to have people voting that had some, own property or whatever. I'm not saying yes or no. I'm on the fence a little bit. I'm just saying, hey, maybe think about it, right? Maybe that wasn't quite so bad. How about this? What about felons? Should felons get to vote?
Okay, well, now you see, I'm still stuck on the property thing. I want to comment on that. Right off the bat, I don't think that you should have to own property to vote, because it used to be if you had property, like you said, you had a stake. Well, guess what? I might not own property, but if the president is going to decide things like wages and how many hours my worker can legally make me work, or for example, Social Security, welfare, Medicaid, Medicare, do I not now have a stake in that?
Okay, well, how about this then? So perhaps people that are on welfare shouldn't get to vote.
That's a toughie. That's a toughie. I think that, really, I think that we are going about it the wrong way. I think that necessarily there shouldn't be a type of person that, can or cannot based on what they own or what they don't or what they partake of.
Okay.
I think really there needs to be some kind of a arbitrary, but at least a test nonetheless, that can show people are competent in making decisions on who's going to be our leaders.
Like a literacy test.
A literacy test, well, okay, careful with that, because there used to be something like a literacy test, I believe, and that was used again to oppress black people, and so the freaking black people can't make us, now we can't, do things the right way, right? So let's go ahead and kind of skip around.
It's not my fault if the freaking black people can't pass a test, right?
Yeah.
If you can't read and write,
You
all
shouldn't
right,
get to vote,
I don't
right?
give a crap what skin color you have, all right?
Yeah, well, let's just not call it a literacy test, because we don't want to be politically incorrect. Well,
Well, I
fuck it,
do,
in this
but-
show, we don't care, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
the general public might want something like a voting test. I mean, something like a driver's license, exam, right?
How about this, right? How about if, in order to be able to vote, how about if you have to pass the citizenship test that immigrants have to pass when they become U.S. citizens?
Okay, but is that saying that you would also, well,
You have to
okay.
be able to name the 50 states and their capitals and who's been president, what are the branches of government, how does a law get passed?
The
So you're
basic
saying that's a bad
information.
thing that people,
No.
you know,
That's good information.
people knowing
Everybody
that
should
is a
know
good
that.
thing, right?
Everybody should know the three branches of government and how everything interplays and where checks and
Okay,
balances.
there you
and
go.
Who are the sitting justices? I mean, if we had people that knew things like that, I think that voting would take a radical change. I think that elections would become radically different, and I think that we would have a much better pool of representatives to pick from. But,
Right.
another thing that I think is also important is, and I'm kind of touching on this, is that for all the good that being able to vote, I mean, if you can prove that you're capable of making a good decision about a representative, that's all good and fine, but something also needs to be done about the representatives themselves. And I think that if you integrated a test that people had to take to show that they could vote and pick a good person, I think that we should also try to integrate current situations and policies in the way things, not just basic knowledge from the past or archaic knowledge that kind of works in the background, Also, they should be up on the world issues, right? They should be up on national issues. They
That
should
would be
up on
nice,
the,
yeah.
They should be up on the representatives that we're going to elect. What do they stand for? What is the track record? Are they really going to stand up for what they say they're going to stand up with? Or are they just there and they have a nice smile and a good handshake and they just happen to be with the donkey or the elephant and so you're going to vote for them?
Okay, how about this? You say that you don't have to be a property owner to have a stake in things. How about an alien? How about a lawful permanent resident, a person that came here correctly, not talking about illegals, person that came here legally, a person with a green card. Let's say they've lived here 5 years, 10 years, whatever. You know, should they be able to vote? They've got a stake in the game too, supposedly, right? They're living in our land. They're having to comply with our laws. Shouldn't they have a say?
No, I think not. Actually, and I'll tell you why. I mean, yeah, they're legal residents. They're staying here. Why are they not citizens by now?
Well, hey, that's a good point.
If they're not citizens, right? To me, if you become a citizen and your family now for generations is going to be flourishing in the United States of America, all right, now you have a stake in where the country goes, what the future of the country holds.
Okay. Convicted felons, yes or no?
Yes.
I would happen to agree with that. As a matter of fact, in some states, they even hold voting, days in prisons. You're in prison, and they, come in with the voting booths and the ballots and everything. And now, why do I say that? And I'll tell you the reason why. It's very simple. One of the tenets of our society is you commit a crime or you make a mistake, pay for that mistake, but the whole idea is rehabilitation and getting you to become a responsible, productive citizen and contribute to society. So, part of that is doing your civic duty. Matter of fact, I think that there shouldn't be we shouldn't be automatically excluding people with a felony from serving on juries.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, if you don't allow people with felonies to partake of regular things that the citizens can do on a day-to-day basis, at major events like
You're
this,
just pushing them further down the road into second-class citizenship and into really a life of crime.
that's like saying you don't believe in rehabilitation. If you don't believe in rehabilitation, then why is that a major cornerstone of jails today, right? Or
Right.
the correctional system.
Why don't we just say any crime that you commit, automatic death penalty, and we're done with you because you can never be fixed.
Scary enough, I think there are people that would say, yeah, that's a good point. We should do something like that. But that's something for another day. We are not going to tackle that today, right?
That's why we have to be careful who we allow to vote, right? How about this? Let me ask the question in reverse because we got just about a minute and a half left, right? Let me just throw this out there. I happen to know of countries, there are countries where voting is not just your right, voting is your obligation.
Voting should be an obligation. If you meet the criteria that you're allowed to vote, you should vote. You should vote because it is your job as a citizen of the United States of America to elect representatives that hold the values that you want to see passed on from generation to generation.
I would not disagree with that, and I'd go a little bit further. I'd say, how about if you haven't voted, then guess what? You don't get to get welfare benefits if you need them. If you haven't voted, you don't get to, get unemployment or whatever.
Well, yeah, now you don't hold a stake. You don't want to vote, you don't hold a stake.
There you go.
That
So you think voting should be pretty much obligatory as long as people meet the criteria?
Yeah, if you don't meet the criteria, well, obviously there's nothing that can be done about that, right? I mean, if for some reason you can't pass something like an exam to prove that you should be able to vote, let's say, for example, if you were handicapped mentally and you could not learn and understand as fast as other people, well, that's not your fault. You shouldn't be punished if you can't pass the exam.
But you also shouldn't be picking our leaders for the rest of us.
No, you shouldn't. So with that in mind, guys, we've got a couple of seconds left. Please shoot us an email. Let us know what you think about this. Voting should be mandatory, yes or no? Who should be allowed to vote? And, get creative. Tell us something.
yeah, just shoot us an email, two.johns@yahoo.com. And until next time, have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you in the next segment.